Good morning. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. And I am out for my morning routine. um, yeah, we feel a little tight this morning. As to be expected, I guess, some would say. Last night was going into what I knew today could be. I'd have to say um, it was relatively rough. Got a little sick last night. Not sure why. Did I've done that now twice this go around. Once in the morning, and this time was literally like at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So, so today we went and instead of bringing something to hydrate with, I got me something to hydrate with. So, 8-ounce cherry. Um, I'll show you. It's not like what you think. It's carbonated than anything. With some ice in there. And so far, we got a little ways to go, but we thought about it. It's like I should have got it at the end. And I thought, well, it'd be nice to have something as I walk, especially feeling the way I feel. So yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Oh. My thought for today is it's pretty simple. It's very simple. That's very carbonated. Carbonated is what we like. Okay. Sorry about that. Trying to get it together. We like carbonated because that helps us. Normally it helps us get some relief. Hasn't done it yet. Waiting for it though. Yeah, I would definitely say this for those of you that are fortunate enough to be in a center, especially a center that gives you the patient care that you're satisfied with, or even those of you that have the center that has not just the exceptional patient care, but customer service, professionalism. There we go. A little bit. Leadership. All the things. And the people that are actually in it because they care and they care about you, you're very fortunate. And post your center. Like, you don't have to say the name, just say your city. You don't even have to say your state. Give your clinic a shout out, because they're few and far between from what I'm hearing. And I don't know if that's fair to say few and far between. It seems like this is probably a fair statement. Compared to the state that I'm in, it seems as though other states definitely have the luxury of certain things that we just don't have in this state, and they probably will never find to be important. You know, when you're rolling stuff back, you definitely can't have forward moving. So, fortunately, that's where I reside, where they're rolling stuff back or trying to keep it to the good and the bad. Classify you, and that's the way it goes. Because what I don't understand is as many state representatives that are taking a look at this, how y'all gonna see this as wrong? You think because the center tried to place me in one other center that was significantly farther away from my home, and again, no one takes into consideration the other things. They just feel like, well, they offer you transportation. Get your black butt on some transportation. And that's just not okay. Some of us don't want to do transportation. Some of us would rather be able to be as independent as we possibly could be and not try to be part of the system. You know, and not to mention, I saw what happened to people on transportation when the transportation just didn't show up. You know, when the center had issues and didn't open for 4, 5, 6 hours, people just didn't get treatment. You know, so no. If I don't have to go that route, I'd rather not. And I would think that you would encourage that. You would want as many independent people as you could possibly have. So transportation is not an option. Not to mention, when the center wanted me to move to this other center, I drove it just to see on a normal traffic day what it would be like to drive. It was far, just like I thought, without traffic. So now you factor in the likelihood of traffic. You factor in the likelihood of an accident along the way or any type of delay. And then you have your answer. Not to mention, you then say, well, I'd like to tour the facility. You know, can I tour the clinic? And it took all, oh, okay, sorry.
No, you're just kind of in the middle.
And you know, so,
come on your right or come on your left.
you know, and I'm like, which one is my left?
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I question the same thing every day.
Well, I hate to say it, I don't know if it gets any better.
It doesn't. It's like I've given up on mom brain. It's forever brain.
You know what? I never thought that's what I had, but you're probably right.
Yeah. Say it's mom brain when you first have kids, and then you can't really use that anymore when they're like 12.
When they're older, my kids are grown.
Forever brain.
I have adult mind brain.
Yes.
There you go. Well, you have a wonderful walk. So, I'm kind of like in the middle. And she actually said, coming up on your left. At first, I didn't know if she was talking to me or turned around, she was. Yeah, when they're walking the dogs and stuff. So, I got out of the way. But at any rate, yeah, so the independence factor. And, I mean, it just didn't seem like it was a lifestyle I wanted. And then not to mention, when I asked, could I get a tour? They finally say, sure. Now, the FA at this particular clinic, I had known to be, had interaction with them as the social worker at the clinic I was at. Went on to be the FA at another clinic. Had no issue with this individual. None. So that wasn't the issue of would the facility be run correctly, and, you know, that wasn't the issue. I wasn't questioning management or anything like that. At this point, I just wanted to feel whole. I just wanted to be able to see the facility because I'd always heard of it, never seen it, never been there. And so I asked, can I have a tour? And I'm told, sure, you can have a tour. So I ended up calling the FA myself, and the FA was like, yeah, you know, no problem. People that sent me, yeah, no problem. So now this marks the second time I drive out there, because I'd already gone once on my own. When I drove out there the second time, nothing was different. It was still far. and it would have been in the morning. So I would have had to leave much earlier. I'd have to get up much earlier to place the cream and to get there. And quite frankly, safety is of the essence, and that was already a question mark in that box. Not to mention leaving. You got to get back home. And at this rate, my drive back home from the center I was at was like 15 minutes, more on the 15-minute mark. This was doubling, if not tripling, that drive. And that's after treatment. And that was very scary because I typically went home after treatment. And I just saw that to be, like, okay. And if you get caught in traffic, girl. So everyone's telling me, yeah, sure, go tour the facility. So I arrive. I'm in the lobby. And the first off-putting thing was they had everything from Coca-Cola to toilet paper in the lobby, just stacked. And it was immediately evident that it was small. It didn't look like a small clinic, but that lobby was extremely small. So much so you're using it as a holding tank. I didn't like that because I thought about the times when there were issues at the clinic and the lobby was the first thing that piled up with patients. And I wonder, where does everybody go when maybe they never have issues, but on the off chance that they do, where's everybody going to go? There's lots of supplies here and not enough space for people. So, paid it no mind. That was just a mental note. FA comes out. I was standing and began to talk. And it was evident we were talking longer and we weren't moving. We weren't going anywhere. So I then said, would it be okay if we sit? So we go, we sit, and that's where we stayed for the whole visit. That was my tour. My tour was what I could see. I then was like, can I not see the treatment floor? I kind of got a delayed response. I then knew that there was some red tape. I didn't know what, because mind you, I had gone to another clinic of company WXYZ. Just literally walked in, said, was thinking about switching. This is before I was blacklisted. Was thinking about switching and just wanted to know if I could possibly tour the facility. Was told, sure. Let me get a couple disclaimers for you to sign. I signed the disclaimers. I toured the entire facility. Why there are people getting treatment. I mean entire. Their break room, everything. And I thought it was nice. It was welcoming. It was warm. And it was like, okay, there were a couple of obstacles to go to that facility. But let's see if we can knock them out. I guess I wasn't able to knock things out that other people were controlling. So back to the tour I had. Allegedly. Actually, it wasn't a tour. I can't even call it that. My 8 ounces is now gone. So that was a good call. Oh. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, that was a struggle for real. It gets worse as the days pile on. So at any rate, I get back. I get an email from the social worker at the clinic I was at the time. Oh, Mitzi, how did you enjoy the tour? And I said, the FA was pleasant as always, type of thing. I'm paraphrasing. However, I would have enjoyed it if I could have at least seen the clinic. The only thing I saw was the lobby. I wasn't allowed to go on the treatment floor. Do you know why that is? Oh, let me check. Social worker comes back after speaking to the DO and says, yeah, I confirmed with the DO. In order for you to see the treatment floor, you would have to go after hours. So I'm thinking, and these were some of the things they did that I just found appalling. It's like, I asked for a tour. Did you think I really meant just go sit in their little lobby? And it was small, for real. That's what you thought? That's what you thought I meant? You thought I meant go say hi to someone that I already know? That's what you thought? Oh my goodness. It just got worse. And I said, why wasn't I told that? Why wasn't I given that option then? Since you knew I asked for a tour, you did not volunteer and say, you should go tour the place. No, you didn't say that. I asked you. You then said, sure. So why would you not be professional enough to not waste my time and not just tell me? And what I didn't understand is I said, so I am your patient. They are your patient. I can't see patients here and they can't see patients there. Now, mind you, they had an individual at the clinic who got a transplant. And the rules were no one could be on the treatment floor except for staff and patients, vendors, stuff like that, I guess. And I didn't really see vendors on the treatment floor, but at any rate, you couldn't just have a guest or whatever come to the treatment floor. This one particular time, this individual had already got transplant, came back. Now this is an individual that would cut treatment, and I never understood how they qualify people for transplant, because this one for sure cut treatment quite a bit, and you know, whatever. So this particular day, they'd come back once before after transplant, and they say that in the psych therapy for a transplant is that part of the biggest problems people have is adjusting. That you'll miss people at the center and yada yada. So I guess he proved that to be true. So at any rate, the individual comes in and sitting there talking to everyone. Look better. I mean, honestly, because I think that once that darkening stops too, that gives a lot of us color back and, you know, things of that nature. And it's weird because I know for myself, my hands got pretty dark. They're darker. But at any rate, individual comes and is, sitting there talking. Next time the individual comes, now mind you, this is the individual that the patients would talk about in the lobby like a dog. But yet and still, that was their friend. It's always so interesting. Talk about this person, and it was the craziest thing to see. So this particular day, they had talked about this person, which was really interesting. About how the person was put out by their wife, and this, that, the other, and the third, and, you know, called one of the patients, and the patient's like, well, you can't stay with me and my wife, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So my treatment's done. Now, that was in the morning. And when I say morning, I mean 5-something in the morning. That's what you're listening to. It was always really just kind of like, you know, wonder if your spouses were here, if y'all would be talking like that. But it is what it is, right? So I'm getting ready. My treatment's done. I'm walking to the scale to go weigh myself. As I'm at the scale, I step on. I step on. And when I step on, I just happen to look to the left. Like, it's like a traffic zone. Like, you look to the left before you go forward. And that's what I did. When I looked to the left, I saw this person in a wheelchair. Now, this person was an amputee. So to see them in a wheelchair, they typically walked. But to see him in the wheelchair was not unusual. But again, this person has a transplant. So, and they just finished talking about this person. So now I'm thinking, oh no, what has happened? What brings you back? So now, mind you, this person's saying hi to staff and everything. I have no reason to think that this person is not a patient. As this person approaches me, I say, what are you doing here? the person says, oh, I'm just going to visit my friend X, Y, and Z, and scooted on. I remember looking at the door. Now, part of the context and backstory of that was the center had begun to unravel in terms of the things that they can control, they just chose not to. Meaning, the first shift, when they came out and opened the door, no longer did they come out and just call you by last name or just call the chair times to come back. They opened the door and whoever was in the lobby just got to go back. And oftentimes you had 640s in the lobby that were going back now at 5:10, 5:15, whenever they opened the door. 5:20, whenever the door came open. I said something to the FA. I said, and in writing, I said, can we, please have a little more organization? Now, this FA was new to dialysis. And so, therefore, I figured they were new to the center and didn't know. I saw things that looked like, people taking advantage because you don't know. My first advice was, if I were you, I'd take a tech course. At least that way you know what they should be doing. So then you could tell what they're not, But my advice was just kind of like, touche, tossed away. So, at any rate, I'd already complained about that. I don't know, people call it complaining. I just call it reporting. I reported that because it was an issue, because it affected me. You had 640s going back before me, and I was a 525 chair. You had 640s being put on before me, and I was a 525 chair. Make that make sense. And I often said, because you would have techs that would come out in the lobby and say, they would start asking for their people. And whoever was there got to go. And it was like, they were just like, never, ever, ever did I ask any questions. Never. I didn't even speak to most of the time in the lobby. Only time I ever really had anything to say in the lobby was when there was a problem. And I just wanted to be clear on, what was happening. Where are we? Are we getting treatment today type of thing? Can we go to another facility type of thing? Whatever. But at any rate, you'd have a tech come out and say, and there was one particular tech who used to love to do this, I'm coming to get my people because I work quick. I handle my business so I can take care of my people. What is that saying about your coworkers? Better yet, what does that say about you? I thought you guys were a team. So if you finished your machine setup, why aren't you in there helping everybody else that has not? So that at least the 525s can get put on time. I'm not impressed with your assessment of your skill set because that's horrific. Because you don't work in a team of I. This is a team of team. And your coworkers are back there struggling or doing whatever they're doing. They're not ready, clearly. And here you are out here boasting and bragging, taking people back, causing a problem. Because now you're taking back people that are far earlier than the people that were already here. And there were some people that just got there extremely early. I got there early. So it was just crazy. So this particular day, as the individual was scooting on down, and I'm looking like, wow. I'm just watching them, watching them just, all interact and, hey, how you doing? Like, this is what we do. No one's saying a word. Nurse doesn't say a word. No one's saying a word whatsoever. So I'm like, So I go and I send the FA an email and I say, no, I did that particular, actually I did, because there is a piece of information that I am withholding. That'll come up later on when there's people who can make a decision about what I have to say. But there was a reason to be concerned with this person coming back there. And not just because that was a breach of their security policy. It was concern. And it could have been an issue. Could have been national news for all they knew. So I then address that. And I say, okay, what's the policy about having visitors again? Just make sure maybe something had changed. Because, that's the thing. It was many changes instantly. MCI. So it was like, maybe something changed. So let me ask first. So I asked, and they're like, no, absolutely nobody on the trip. And it's like, well, okay, I guess you didn't know what happened today. And that wouldn't have been a first, that something happened that the DO wasn't aware of. The DO wasn't aware when her center didn't open for an hour, and we stood outside in the heat. And the excuse we were given was, well, we'll leave that too. But we were given an excuse that just didn't make sense. And I'm like, so I can see that being a reason you didn't take anybody on the treatment floor. But why did you leave us in the hot heat in July out here in an hour? We couldn't go and sit in the lobby. Anyway, so that's the problem. I get to asking questions. I'm disruptive behavior. I'm rude. I'm abusive to staff. And I'm name calling and I'm yelling when I ask questions. You'll get one of those 5, right? So, anyway, back to the story. So, I then engage and tell them, I guess you weren't aware of what happened today. And, yeah, I thought maybe that individual was back. That individual was not back. That individual was there visiting. And I guess visiting has extended from being in the lobby to being on the treatment floor. They used to have a log, and I used to tell them, visitors should have to sign that too. Anybody that comes into your building should have to sign that log, not just your patients. Because they always had a problem with, you didn't come at this time, you didn't come at that time. And instead of them continually having an administrative staff up front or somebody, which would have been great to have. I don't know if a lot of centers have it or not. But to have somebody there so if something did happen, or until you have like a smooth check-in process, right? So some people wouldn't even dine in. So it was always just like, okay. So I'm then told, oh, we're going to investigate that and And again, I had my concerns for sure. And I said, this goes back to what I told y'all. Literally what happened was the nurse that opened the door just allowed that person was just in the wheelchair and just rolled on back. Like, it was, I can't believe some of the things that happened. But at any rate, yeah, that was an issue. That was a huge issue. Because that's not supposed to happen. So, yeah. So allegedly I was told that person was told they can't come back. And that person knew they wasn't supposed to come back there. That person broke y'all rules all the time. Y'all knew that. So I wasn't impressed. But those are just some of the things that happen. And again, I mean, I know a lot of the hateful folks are going to chime in. And I don't know if you're necessarily hateful or if you just like to say hateful things. But I guess they kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, I just, I want to know. What's your take on a tour? Should I have been told that I wouldn't be able to go on the treatment floor? Or was that just what I got? I got to stand in the middle of a crowded lobby with stuff, not people. And I had to say, well, can we sit? I mean, that was clear. I didn't know we weren't touring the location. I don't know why I needed to drive all the way out there to have a conversation. We could have just had over the phone. You could have just showed me pictures if that was the case. Like, what? So it's just like all those kind of just unprofessional things that were done. You got people getting paid in those positions that couldn't even understand the definition of the word tour or didn't know the policies of their organization that they had been at for 10, 15 years and didn't know until after I go, oh, you can't tour, you can't do this, you can't, you're supposed to do it after hours when there's no patients there. Well, you were supposed to tell me that, because it's not my job to know all of your policies, is it? Because the minute that I would remind you of the ones I did know, that was a problem. So, yeah, that's part of, the circumstances and situations. And again, I say, if you're at a location that, you're happy with and you get good patient care, you have exceptional healthcare workers, etc., then consider yourself fortunate. Again, today is August 18th, Tuesday, 2026. It's day 5 or 6, depending on how you count it, for me. And I'm trying to make the best of it by doing my normal routine. And we did not do as much as we could because it's already 93 degrees at 9:45 in the morning. So I'm fortunate to have done that. So we'll get some more stuff in at some point in time. Go lay that hair back down. It's kind of bothering me. But yeah, so have a great day.